Do dwarven women have beards? Hey folks, Matt Easton here, Schola Gladiatoria. Now I have noticed, as I'm sure many of you have, over the last couple of weeks, a whole ton of people on the internet absolutely losing their shit over the fact that the new Amazon Prime series, Lord of the Rings based series called The Rings of Power, features a dwarven queen who is missing her beard, and absolutely tons of people on the internet have totally lost their minds over this fact, because we all know that dwarven women all have big, plaited, long, hairy beards. Or do they? Well, as I'm known as Captain Context, I decided to go and do some research. Do dwarven women in Tolkien have big hairy beards? So I found a very useful little website called the Tolkien Gateway, which I will link below. And in this it talks about dwarven women, their role in society, fertility, the number of them. So they were a minority compared to the men within the law, and there are certain things written about their appearance, but what about the beards? So what we find is that in The War of the Jewels, Part 2, the later Quenta Silmarillion, concerning the dwarves, chapter 13, and there's a similar statement made in the Making of Appendix, as referring to Durin's folk, Tolkien, edited by Christopher Tolkien, says that all dwarves share similar appearance, and that all dwarves were born with beards. From their birth they had beards. So that seems like a fairly categorical statement. However, it's also incredibly brief and incredibly basic and could be taken in many different ways. So I'm showing a little bit of stubble today. Do I have a beard? Well, my 2-year-old son would say, "Daddy, you've got a beard." Whereas you, watching this with a nice big plaited Viking-esque beard, might say, "No, you don't have a beard." So clearly it's a matter of perspective, and when we're relying on one sentence to get furiously angry about things on the internet, seems a little bit too little. So we need a bit more evidence here. Now, going back to the War of the Jewels, Tolkien explicitly writes, "No man nor elf has ever seen a beardless dwarf, unless he was shaven in mockery." Now notice it says he. Okay, so this is a general statement, again talking about dwarven men, because out in the open world people only see dwarven men. We've explicitly read from the Tolkien's text that dwarven women are not seen very much in the open, and we know from the various sources that we have available, that they, canonical ones, that they are a minority. They only make about a third of the entire dwarven population, and they pretty much stay at home, so they're not seen openly by humans and elves very much. Tolkien goes on to say, "For the Naugrim have beards from the beginning of their lives, male and female alike." Well, again, that is an absolute statement. So yes, 100%, according to the original text, we would say that dwarven women need to have beards of some kind. But what kind of beard? If we bring into the modern world interpretations of Tolkien's stories, so if we go back to 1989, during Thorin and Gandalf's narration about Erebor and Smaug, a flashback panel shows the exodus of the dwarves of Erebor. Now, what's very notable is that a woman can be seen in this exodus of dwarves, and in that case, the woman does not have a beard and wears woman's clothes. Now, you could say, well, this is an error, this is a flaw, this is a blooper. You can say what you like, but in 1989, the interpretation was that their dwarven woman did not have a visible beard. Although, as I say, what's a beard? Maybe she had stubble and you just couldn't see it in the animation. Now, famously in 2002's The Two Towers, Lord of the Rings, Gimli's talking about dwarven women, and he's talking about the fact that, of course, they exist, and it's a myth that there are no dwarven women. And Aragorn whispers to Éowyn, to make her laugh, "It's the beards, that's why they don't notice there's any women." So he does refer to dwarven women's beards. Now, most people talking about this on the internet and getting enraged, their primary source actually for Tolkien's bearded dwarves in many cases is the movies, and that quote, because it is funny and it's memorable. So one thing they take away from that about dwarven women is that dwarven women must have beards. But again, what kind of beard? And indeed, the fact that Éowyn laughs and Aragorn even says it means that it's a remarkable remarkable point and also sort of laughable. So to some extent, is he exaggerating? Is there some comedy in here? Is it a literal all dwarven women have massive flowing beards? We don't know because he doesn't expand on the point. Now for me, 2012 brought one of the most interesting points in this whole discussion, and that of course was The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. Now when they're talking about the destruction of Erebor, much like in the 1989 comic book, some of the women have beards, but some of them just have sideburns. Now this is really, really important actually, because it means that in 2012, which I'm sorry to tell you folks, that's 10 years ago. How is 2012 already 10 years ago? But 10 years ago, a screen rendition, which is what we're really talking about here, what people are losing their minds over with the Amazon Prime version, is that they showed on screen dwarven women without beards, or rather what I would say without beards. If someone's got a sort of bum fluff and fuzzy sideburns down here and someone says, do they have a beard? I'd say, no, they don't have a beard. I'd say that they have facial hair, definitely. So here we've absolutely got evidence. It's not original Tolkien canonical necessarily, but on screen, and no one lost their minds over it, no one really complained about it, not that I ever noticed anyway, the fact that dwarven women clearly represented didn't all have beards. Some had beards and some had some facial hair that was more or less notable. So there we go. I think in conclusion we should say that The Rings of Power, which is soon going to be on Amazon Prime, featuring Queen Disa, I'm not sure how it's said, who is allegedly the only dwarven woman ever named by Tolkien actually, should have a beard of some kind. Now I'm not 100% convinced that she doesn't have a beard, based on if we go back to 2012's Hobbit, then we did see women in that which had sideburns. Now if we accept that, which I think we did, then we would also accept if she had sideburns. Now from the images I've been able to find online, I think it's possible that she does. So I think that there's a chance that lots of people are losing their minds over the fact that she doesn't have any facial hair growth, because they didn't lose their minds in 2012, when actually she does, and you just can't see it in the image that's been released. So I would say the jury's still out on this one. If she is completely smooth-faced, I would say canonically, yes, that's definitely wrong. If she has some facial hair growth, I think that should be enough to put this to rest, honestly, because we accepted that in 2012. No one complained about that. Some dwarven women had big flowing beards, some just had bum fluff on the sides, just as human males in the real world do. Not everyone can grow a full beard, and there might be an age relativity here as well. You might find that whilst yes, Tolkien said they were all born with beards, what does that mean? It might just mean they're born with some hair on their faces, as some children are. So I think the jury's out on this one. Yes, I think it was perhaps unwise to not have her with a proper full beard, given that she's a queen. However, I don't think that's necessarily, I don't think we know enough yet to know that it's completely wrong, because if she has some bum fluff on the side or some stylish sideburns, then certainly according to what we accepted in 2012, that could be enough for us now. So let's wait and see. I'm looking forward to the series. I've got great hopes for it. I know lots of people are naysayers and are saying it's going to be terrible, but we don't know until we see it, do we? So give it a chance, folks. And I hope this has been thought-provoking. If you've got anything to contribute, or you completely disagree with me, or you agree with me, or you've got some extra information that I may have skipped over, or just didn't know, then feel free to post underneath. Your posts, your comments are always welcome. Thanks for watching. I've been Matt Easton, and I will be again at some point. See you soon, folks.